Hi class, my name is Emily and this is my presentation on the effects of using the supplement creatine on sports performance. So what exactly is creatine? Creatine can be found in everyday foods such as milk, red and white meats, fish, and mollusks. The cooking time, type of meat, and muscle site all influence the creatine values in these foods after consumption, but the typical carnivore will eat about 1 to 2 grams of creatine per day due to their diet. In supplemental form, creatine is a crystalline, tasteless powder that can be readily dissolved in liquids and is generally marketed as creatine monohydrate or creatine combined with phosphorus. The majority of creatine, about 95%, is stored in skeletal muscle, particularly the fast twitch muscles. The intention of creatine supplementation is to increase resting phosphocreatine levels in muscles as well as free creatine, with the goal of postponing fatigue for sports enhancing results. This is a research study on the effects of 4-week creatine supplementation combined with complex training on muscle damage and sport performance. I found this article on PubMed and have included a link at the bottom of this slide in case anyone is interested in reading it. For this study, 30 subjects were selected and assigned to 2 different experimental groups. One was for creatine supplements and one just for a placebo supplement. These subjects were taken from 3 different explosive type sports: basketball, baseball, and chalkball. 10 subjects from each sport. The supplement group consumed 20 grams of creatine per day for 6 days, while the control group just consumed a placebo. After the 6-day loading phase, 2 grams of creatine were administered per day for the rest of the study. All subjects executed one maximum repetition half squat for resistance loading and an optimal individual post-activation potentiation time tests after the 6-day creatine loading phase. Then the body composition, 30-meter sprint, and jump performances were determined. Once all of the pre-tests were complete, all 30 subjects started a 4-week training course with optimal individual PAP time 3 times per week. There were also blood samples collected in this study to monitor creatine kinase at the first and last trainings. 2 days after the completion of the last training, the body composition, 1 RM half squat, 30-meter sprint, and jump performance were determined again. The major findings of the study were that 4 weeks of complex training with optimal individual PAP times 3 times per week during the off-season period of sports could reduce body fat percentage and enhance muscular strength, performance of 30-meter sprint, jump height, and peak power. It was also found that creatine supplementation during the complex training that was applied in this study could help increase maximal muscular strength after 4 weeks of training were completed and reduce the muscle damage caused by the training as well. Harris et al. Were the first to document increased muscle creatine concentrations of 20% with creatine supplementation in the form of creatine monohydrate. The creatine supplementation increased strength, lean body mass, power, and improved the ability to perform high-intensity exercises for short durations. There are limited studies done on active gameplay scenarios. However, creatine has been studied extensively in the laboratory and weight room. Results that were given from a meta-analysis, including 100 studies conducted in 2003, showed no improvements in sports-specific activities after short-term supplementation and significant improvement in lab-based exercises. Other studies have shown no improvement in simulated sports participation, such as tennis, soccer, wrestling, and swimming. Approximately 64% of studies measuring body composition or body mass noted a statistically significant increase in lean body mass due to supplementation. The increase in body mass was noted in those that took the supplement without participation in an exercise program. Taking creatine in combination with resistance training yielded greater increases in body mass. Strength gain after 28 days was monitored between groups taking just creatine alone, creatine with resistance training, and a placebo with resistance training. It is found that all groups increased their bench and leg press muscular strength, although the creatine plus resistance training group improved significantly more than the other 2 groups. The improvements were especially evident in those that had no previous training history. These changes in improvement are independent of sex, age, supplement dosage, and supplement duration. For this slide, I also included a link to the research article if anyone is interested in reading the entire thing. It's at the bottom of the slide. So I came across the question of whether creatine is safe or not when I was reading through research articles for this assignment. I was kind of doubting that I'm the only one that has wondered this, so I wanted to include some information on the safety of creatine in my presentation. There have been isolated reports of athletes sustaining hepatic injury with creatine use. However, each of these cases involved inappropriate creatine use or multiple ergogenic aids and supplements being used. There have been no adverse reactions identified in larger, healthy populations taking creatine in appropriate therapeutic doses. Another potential point of concern is the osmotic effects of creatine supplements. It can cause mild water retention, which may result in temporary weight gain, particularly during the loading phase. Because of this increased intracellular water volume, there is an increased risk of compartment syndrome, muscle cramps, dehydration, and heat illness. However, none of these potential adverse reactions have been supported. The safety of creatine supplementation is unknown in children and adolescents, though, so it is unsafe for them. And that is the end of my presentation. I hope you guys learned a lot and enjoyed it. Leave some feedback. Thank you.